Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk when we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. Touchdowns on liquid air on the slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt. We the voice of the fans, we scream and we shout.
What's going on, good people? Happy election day and all that good stuff. Hope you had a chance to get out and vote. Exercise your right. But now it's time to get down to business. What's up, E-Money? Cody K first out the limo. I appreciate y'all. We're going to have the lines up after a while. Won't take too long. But a lot of stuff going on, man. It's good time to be in the sports, man. All of my content that seems to be popping right now. The NFL is popping. People still, even though the season's over with, everybody's still interested in the WNBA. So my WNBA content has been popping. NCAA women's basketball started. This will be the third year in a row I am watching exclusively women's NCAA basketball. I'm watching the women's game. I will get the highlights of the men's game because I watched the women's game in 22, fell in love with it in 23, and then just kind of following suit, watching the W. Caitlin Clark did, everything that Angel Reese did, Rakia Jackson, Cam Brink, all of them rookies that came in there and just captivated the country with what was going on in the W. So got some stuff I'm working on for that. I had the first couple games. My cousin coaching tonight for Xavier University in Cincinnati. So I still haven't seen how that game ended up, man. But a lot of stuff going on, man. And of course, our Eagles are balling, taking care of business, getting things where where they are supposed to be. Let me say it like that. We are getting things the way they are supposed to be, and we're putting things in place, right? However, we still have this big worry called Nick Sirianni. And I'm juxtaposing both sides of this because I'm of the ilk where take all of the nonsense to the side, put that to the side. And you talking about a coach, whether you agree with him, his philosophy and the way he does things and goes about his business, whether you agree with that or not is irrelevant at this point. What the facts say is that every year he's been here, he's made it to the playoffs. And there are arguably a lot better coaches than Nick Sirianni that haven't done that. Not even close. But every time we as Eagles fans, we get comfortable with what's going on, he pulls a fast one on us. And it's worrisome because what he's doing defies common sense. It'd be different if you were taking a justified risk. But he's doing the stuff where it kind of is like, no, it's common sense says you shouldn't do that. You just saw what happened to Dan Campbell. He got burned the same way. He should have been going to the Super Bowl. The Lions should have been in the Super Bowl last year. But his aggressiveness, it ended up costing him in the very same way that the Eagles have been going through their troubles this year. He got criticized, and he said the same thing. I've been aggressive all year. I'm not going to stop now. He said the exact same thing. He had the exact right play called on that fourth down play, and it hit his receiver in the hands, and the receiver didn't drop, or he didn't catch it. So he had the right play called. They just didn't execute. However, you remove the possibility. If you punt it the way your defense have been playing, if the Eagles punt or if the Eagles go for it, 2 tush pushes to get 3 yards, whatever they got to do to get that first down, but don't throw the ball because if you throw the ball, the possibility exists that it'll go incomplete, that it'll be picked off, and they'll have an opportunity to take the game. And that's exactly what happens. You got to eliminate the possibility. And once again, Nick Sirianni leaves that on the table. And I don't understand why. And you're not even in the situation where it should even be a question. Kick the field goal. Make it a 2-possession game by kicking the point after. Worry about everything else when it comes. Now, granted, it was some lucky calls and some bad officiating, but that's what happens in NFL games. We're not the first team to get bad calls. That's going to keep on happening. That is going to keep on happening. And you got to understand that when you're at this level, and this is not anything that Sirianni doesn't know. He might act otherwise, but he knows this. Don't get it twisted. When you are at this level, your margin for error is slim, man. Very slim. But to me, it seems like he's at a point where he's just being straight up stubborn. I'm going to do it anyways because I'm going to go for it, because if I make it, it just makes me look better. The hell if I don't make it. The hell with that. I'm worried about if I make it, how good does it make me look? And it's like, you can't do that, man. And I heard Seth on his podcast tonight, and I agree. I asked Seth a question on Twitter the other day. I'm not even sure if he saw it. Many times he does respond to my posts, but let me see if he responded. Because but the question was, we played for Kotite. 93-94, Kotite was the head coach. Is Nick Sirianni getting into that category? That's the question. And it's even weird asking that question because Nick Sirianni's already a better coach because he's been to the Super Bowl. He's been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. So it's really not about coaching, but it's kind of like he's getting put in that category for these bonehead decisions that don't make sense. You at least got to do what's logical. At least. That should be a prerequisite. I know and I understand every now and then you're going to go for it. You're going to be a risk taker. You're going to, go for it on fourth down and all of that. Because I remember when, I forget what team, was it the Saints when Taysom Hill first came on the scene and he was the wild card quarterback and they were going for it on fourth down because the analytics say, or was that somebody in college, whoever it was, that became popular for a minute. The analytics say it's just as likely that you can make it on fourth down than what would happen if you punt it. And a lot of people started doing that. Everybody was like, kind of makes sense. I'll give it a shot. Till it stopped. Don't work. It was good until it wasn't. So I don't know why Sirianni does some of the things that he does. I don't know. And I even asked the question, like, that win the Jaguars win felt like it was worse than that Atlanta loss. Now, I'm not discounting the fact that we got the dub. I'm not doing that. I'm simply looking at what our head coach did. And I don't like the situation where we have a dominant team. There is no reason our team, the way our defense has been playing, the way special teams has been playing, the way Saquon Barkley and the offense has been going, there is no reason why we can't dominate teams. The only teams we have dominated was the Giants. That's the only team we dominated. We didn't dominate the Browns. We could let them stay in the game. The Giants was the only one we dominated, 28-3. Bengals was a dominant game. So the Giants and the Bengals. The Bengals is clearly our best win for the year. The Jaguars, we let them stay in the game from bonehead decisions. This is a totally different outlook if the score is 37-23. You add the extra 9 points he took off the board, and if it's 37-23, we're not having this conversation. Not even close. Because they can still get the lucky call by the refs. Should have been down by contact and all of that kind of stuff. So you still gonna get calls like that. But for that game to come down to the wire like it did makes no sense to me. And I'm worried that eventually that's going to bite us in the butt. At the most inopportune time. Now, we going into Dallas week. And I know Dallas sucks. And Dak Prescott is out. Cooper Rush will be starting. If y'all remember, Cooper Rush kind of lit us up last year. Was it last year, 2 years ago, whenever that was? Cooper Rush can play. And he ain't got no pressure on him. Now watch they come up here, or I don't even know, are we home or away? But watch that game be a damn knockout, drag-out fight when we're clearly the better team. That's the way it always works with the Cowboys. It works that way with the Commanders. We can't just seem to dominate a team. The Commanders game is going to be rough because Jaden Daniels is playing with confidence, and they got a coach that doesn't make dumb mistakes. Yeah, man. Division games are always close, Chris. Always. They're always tough. I'm surprised we took it to the Giants the way we did. But you know what? We didn't have an issue with Sirianni. We didn't have an issue with Sirianni against the Bengals. Then all of a sudden, against the Jaguars, did he want to show up Doug Peterson or something? I don't know. I don't know what the situation was. But why couldn't we have that same workflow with the Jaguars? Why we got to do the stupid shit? That's why we didn't do it in the previous two games. So why are we doing it now? Just common sense stuff, man. Common sense stuff. You don't take points off the board. And I agree. I heard my guy Derek Gunn after the game the other day, and it's like Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie need to take those decisions out of Sirianni's hands. And I don't disagree. Because if you're going to put us in that situation, then let's figure out a way to not put us in those situations. And if it's got to come from on high, then it's got to come from on high. So be it. Do what you got to do. We finally had a situation where the rest of the league is on notice that we have a good team. We got the second best running back behind King Henry. Can't touch King Henry right now. Derrick Henry is on another level. Already got 1,000 yards in week 9 going into week 10. Ridiculous. He might be MVP this year, but him and Lamar are canceling each other out. Because Lamar is playing lights out as well. But we can match up and be a better team on paper, in matchups, on offense and defense. But the one key is other teams are always going to have a better coach because of some of the decisions that Sirianni has made. And the other half of that is like, listen, he's still winning. And it's like, I know, but like, it's almost like you see it. It's almost like you see it. It's almost like when you're teaching your kid how to drive and they're a little reckless at first. And you just like, they'll get it. But you in that situation and you ready to, hop over that little hump and slam on the brakes. Sometimes you got to act because you in the car too. I just hate being in this situation. It's like, why come we can't just have nice things? Why can't we just have a good common sense coach that knows what kind of team he has? Everything else is great with Sirianni. It's just these decisions that he makes sometimes that don't make sense. The same thing happened in the Saints game. We almost lost that game. It happened in Atlanta game. So you're talking about Atlanta. You're talking about the Saints. You're talking about the Browns. You're talking about the Jaguars. So we had 4 situations throughout the year, 4 games with multiple situations during the game where we probably should have kicked the field goal and put points on the board, and we did not do it. So I don't get that. I don't want to see him promoted to fan. I think he can be a good coach. I think there's merit to him being a player's coach. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a player's coach. You just got to make common sense decisions. And with Nick Sirianni, it's good until it isn't. We're not talking about this. We're not talking about this with Andy Reid. And you don't have to be an established coach like Andy Reid to make to make smart decisions. You put Nick Sirianni is winning games, but yet and still, he's still in the category, like they lumping him in the same category as Eberflus in Chicago. How does that happen? How does that happen? I could care less about him going back and forth with the crowd. I know it's not a good look, but that really doesn't have a bearing on what he does or doesn't do on the sidelines, calling plays and getting that team together. Those are 2 separate issues. I don't think it's a good look, but it has nothing to do with him coaching the team. But you electing to take points off the board, it doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. You giving away points, can't do that. This league is too good for that. Even the bad teams will come get you. So we gotta be better with that. So hopefully there was a memo sent or something. I don't know. But somebody got to do something. Chris says Nick is gonna get canned. In my opinion, it can be Nick versus the Eagles. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. There's no way that game should have went down the way it did with Shady McCoy in the house, with Doug Peterson in the house. Nick Sirianni may have saved Doug Peterson's job because a lot of people thought, I mean, it was goose egg at halftime. And if we don't make some of them dumb decisions, maybe they would have got a touchdown out of it, and that would have been it. But we keep giving them opportunities. We could have just thoroughly thumped them. Doug Peterson might not have made the trip home. So I don't know. I don't know if he was trying to outdo him. I don't understand the logic. I don't. It's not my riddle to solve, but it sucks sometimes. Corey, I don't necessarily disagree with that. However, we got to be real careful when you, and let me preface it by saying this, and I'm speaking as a running back. When you in the zone like that, the quickest way to get a running back out of the zone or to get a player out of the zone is to put him on the sideline. When you're in the zone like that, everything is working. You're not thinking. You don't see straight. You'll see some people sometimes they're just kind of staring out in space. They are acutely aware of everything that's going on, but they just kind of zoning out and they in their own world. And the best thing to do is just leave them alone. So it's you got to be careful with that, because it's almost like the video games. It's like NFL Street and NBA Live and all them games where the player is on fire. He catches fire, and what do you have to do? You got to keep shooting the ball, and you got to keep making buckets. You got to keep running the ball. So if you catch 3 passes in a row, that receiver's on fire. You got to throw to him again. You don't want to let him cool off. So while I understand what you're saying, you got to be careful with that. My rule is, if you have a player that's in the zone, you give him a blow when he asks for a blow. You take him out. He taps, get him on the sideline, get him some Gatorade, maybe get him some oxygen if he needs it, and then get him right back in the game. You don't break that flow at all. You let him, if he tells you he needs a break, get him a break. And then every play, you ready to go back? You ready to go back? He'll let you know when he's ready. And then you put him right back in the game. You do not hesitate. You leave it all on that player. Unless it's a situation where it's like down a distance or something goofy like that. You know, if you're, you know, if it's 3rd and 8 and you got a quad personnel with 4 wide receivers running ace formation or running gun formation, he might not be in there. So it's still situational, but you look your running back in the eye, are you ready to go? And he will let you know. You don't mess up that when you're in the zone like that. You don't touch him. You don't touch him. It's almost like in MLB when a pitcher is on a hot streak or he's throwing a no-no and you're going into the 7th inning, and you ever notice how all the players scoot away from him on the bench? Leave him alone. Don't touch him. Don't say nothing to him. Nothing. Don't bother him. It's the same way in football. Same way in football. You don't break up that rhythm. Get him out. He gets 2, maybe 3 plays off, and he comes right back in the game. Sometimes you might just get 1. Catch your breath, get some Gatorade, you right back in there. So, yeah, I saw that today. I ain't mad at Washington. I'm not mad at them at all. They're doing what they got to do. They understand that they have what could be a limited window. Marshawn Lattimore is still a good player. He might not be what he used to be, but he's still a solid vet and can teach some players on your squad a few things. So I think it's a good pickup. And Washington is playing well right now. Any move they make can't hurt them. As long as they still got Jaden Daniels back there, they good to go. Because that kid's playing lights out. The defense is playing pretty well. And they're playing with confidence right now. Terry McLaurin is killing it right now. It's amazing what your players can do when they get a quarterback. Isn't that amazing? It works both ways. So he still got to pass his physical, but I don't see why he won't do that. Washington sent a 3rd, a 4th, and a 6th round pick in the 2025 draft to the Saints in exchange for Lattimore. How old is Lattimore? Voted 4 Pro Bowls in his career, including 50. He came out in 2017. How old is he? Listen, he only 28. He just turned 28 in May. So he at the backside of his prime, but he's still a baller. So I don't see a problem with that. Do I think now I'm cooking? I appreciate that. Do you think the Eagles have the recipe for a playoff run? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad you said it like that, because one of the things I always say is, yes, you are trying to go to the Super Bowl, but you got to put it in order. You got to get to the playoffs first. Are we a better team now than we were last year? Last year we was what, 7-1 at one point? So we're a much better team than last year. We're much more physical team than last year. And we are coached better on offense and defense than last year. I want to know what the conversation was between Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, and Nick Sirianni on why he didn't get fired after that Tampa Bay game. That's what I want to know. Because he must have said something to convince him. Because they would have had every right to kick his ass right on Broad Street. So they can do what they need to do if that is necessary. But we got to stop. We got to stop all of this bipolar stuff, man. And that's exactly what I'm calling. Because he'll coach a good game and then he'll do something stupid. And we're like, right back to square one. It's like, you got to be kidding me. And he's running out of equity. Because it's, and I say this all the time. If you're winning, you're nitpicking. If you're losing, you're complaining. And you already know, if we would have lost that game, they'd have been trying to get Nick fired. Period. It's one thing when people say, I don't like Nick and we could get somebody better and blah, blah, blah. That's one thing. But it's another thing when you actively coming back and it was like, I don't want this man to have this job anymore. Period. A lot of people have to begrudgingly like Sirianni right now. Because they don't like him. They don't think he's a good coach. He's just rattling off wins. They just ugly, and the extra stuff is not fun. Hey, I appreciate that, Billy. Much love, bro. Appreciate the support, man. We just don't tolerate the nonsense. Philly has a short fuse for stuff like that. Don't come with no foolishness. And don't come with no foolishness that's going to cost us games. And that's what, in my opinion, that's what Sirianni does sometimes by his decisions. His decisions not to kick the ball or whatever. Do I think it was Kellen Moore making those decisions? Not for a second. Not for a second. And you look at all these other teams that got issues with their coaches, and their coaches is getting promoted to fan with the quickness. You saw what just happened you saw what happened with the Saints. You saw what happened with the Jets. You saw they looking for Eberflus's head after that nonsense in Washington when he gave up that Hail Mary. They should have never been in that position. Trying to hand the ball off to an offensive tackle and you on the 1 yard line. Man, get the ball to your running back. And you got DeAndre Swift and you handing it off to somebody that's not used to handling the ball. What kind of sense does that make? Yeah. Eberflus will probably get fired. Just hasn't happened yet. But that's the company Sirianni is keeping. And it's weird because he's winning. Or are we winning in spite of? That's the question. That's the question. I'm going to have a link up in about 2 minutes. The call-in link will be up in 2 minutes. If you want to call in, ask your question, you'll see the link up in the live chat. Click on it, and I will see you backstage. I will bring you on, ask your question, and we can have a conversation for a minute, and we'll keep it going to the next one. So give me about 2 minutes, and I will have that link up. All right. One of the things I do want to talk about is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts. See something real quick. This is good enough. Let me see. All right, Jalen Hurts. Since the Browns game, really since the Bucks game, the bye week, after the bye week, his QBR, quarterback rating, 126 versus the Browns, 119 versus the Giants, 132 versus the Bengals, and 132 versus the Jaguars. 132.5 and 132.3 Bengals and Jaguars. That's efficient. A couple of throws could have got back, but for the most part, that is efficient. So hold on for a second. There we go. All right. The active link is up. If you want to get your call in, if you want to make some comments, jump on in. I will see you, and we will go from there. But Jalen Hurts, 126, 119, 132, 132. Off the chain. The Browns, 64% completion rate. The Giants, 71%. The Bengals, 80%. Jags, 75%. He's efficient. He's getting it in. And that's what we need from Jalen Hurts. Period. Just play common sense football. Don't do nothing too crazy. Don't try to make it too complicated. I like the way he's running. And I've said this before. Jalen is not running like he did in 2022. He is picking his spots. And he is, at least in my opinion, he is committing himself to staying in the pocket and delivering the ball. That's what it looks like to me. Very similar to what Donovan McNabb did in his third year. When he came back, buffed up a little bit, put on some weight, he was committed to staying in the pocket and being in the pocket drop back quarterback that could take the punishment. That's what the weight was for. I don't think Jalen needs that because, he's strong enough already, squatting 500 something pounds. So he's got the strength. His arm is good enough. He doesn't have a rocket launcher, but he can throw the ball deep enough. As long balls overrated. You ain't going to throw too many balls past 50 yards in the air. Just not going to happen. Usually you got a 25 to a 30-yard pass max, and then your wide receiver makes plays, or your running back, or whoever gets their hands on the ball. So we'll see. Juergens is not a second-string center, bro. He ain't Jason Kelce yet, but Juergens is balling. And he ain't doing nothing but getting better every week. So I'm good with Juergens. I got nothing bad to say about that kid. Never really like Nick. He needs to go even if we have a winning record at the end. A lot of people think that. A lot of people think that. I love Sirianni's energy, but he's more greedy than us fans. I sometimes, like my twin sisters used to tell me all the time, you doing too much. You do too much. Get the win, shake hands, get in the locker room. I don't need you posturing, voguing. I don't need you doing none of that stuff. Just be aware of what the optics are, because now everything is following you. People are looking for a reason to say something. What did he do now after the game? What? They're looking for a reason to complain. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You talk about the Bears. Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. Eberflus should have been, yeah. They should have made him catch an Uber home. That was a horrible decision. So, yeah, Jalen's in a good spot right now. Very good spot right now. Let me see something here. One thing people aren't talking about enough is that this is a revenge game for Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was in Dallas for what, 7 years? I think it was. Is that right? So this is a revenge game for him, going up against Mike McCarthy, and you know how bad Mike McCarthy is struggling right now. So if we can stick it to the Cowboys right now, all of the issues that they are having down there, we have got to go down there and dominate. We have to go down there and dominate. We cannot be BSing around. That is not the game. Now I can see Sirianni trying to be uber aggressive just to stick it to the Cowboys, and it's like, nah, man. When you get the opportunity to put the points on the board, that's all you got to do. The last time we lost down in Dallas, we should have beat Dallas, but we kept fumbling the ball. Jalen Hurts fumbled. Jalen Hurts fumbled. Devontae Smith fumbled, and A.J. Brown fumbled. A.J. Brown fumbled, and we would have been in the red zone. So the way Jalen has been playing as of late, the injuries that the Cowboys have, you're at a backup QB, although, again, Cooper Rush is good. Don't get it twisted. Last time we played Cooper Rush put numbers up. So I'm not taking it lightly that we got to go against Cooper Rush. I'm not taking that for granted at all. Let me see something real quick. So right now, I'm looking at the Cowboy injury report. I want to see who they got in and out. Obviously, this is going to change. Unspecified. Trayvon Diggs is questionable. Linval Joseph is questionable. Eric Kendricks is questionable. Zach Martin is questionable. Micah Parsons is out. Jordan Phillips is out. Nick Vigil is questionable. That was last week, though. Trying to see. Let me see. When was this? November 5th. Dak Prescott out. Deron Bland, questionable. Micah Parsons, questionable. Parsons should be back against the Eagles. Okay. CD Lamb's questionable. Shoulder is considered week to week, but there's optimism he'll play Sunday against the Eagles. So, okay. Wanye Thomas, questionable. So, yeah. So the only thing that's for sure is Dak Prescott's going to be out. I think Deron Bland and Micah Parsons and CD Lamb will probably try to play. So, and again, kick all of that. Whatever happened to the Cowboys before they played the Eagles, kick that stuff out the door. Kick it out the door. It does not matter when they play us. We better be ready. And we get caught up into the Dallas sucks crap a little bit too much. And I don't feed into that fandom because you know how I think. Every game is a season, and you got to treat it as such. There are no gimmies in this league. We're not just walking into anybody's stadium and just blowing everybody. You got to get out there and earn it. You got to earn it. New York and Cincinnati are the only two games where we demonstrated who the better team was. We let Jags back in the hook. We let them off the hook. We let the Browns off the hook. So the Cowboys, just because it's such a visceral game for Eagles fans, they hate us, we hate them, and we go at it. So you talking about a city that would turn on Sirianni in a heartbeat. The recipe is already setting up, especially if he tries to do something stupid and it ends up costing us again in this game. You can't play around with this one. This is a game you got to stick to the game plan, handle your business, stand on business, and do what you got to do. You can't be going off script. Not on Dallas. There's too many things that can happen. It's too much stuff that's always at stake when we play Dallas. We have to handle our business. We are in a situation where we could possibly sweep Dallas this year. We have got to take advantage of that. Because I know that the following week, we're going to have a hell of a game against the Commanders. So we got to get this together. Take care of what you got to do now. We are in a situation where everybody on our offense is playing lights out. The offensive line is playing well. Saquon has been Saquon. Jalen's been doing Jalen Hurts things. The only question mark is A.J. Brown. When we going to get him back? But now, Devontae stepped on the scene and was like, hey, y'all can forget about me if you want to. Because Devontae Smith would be a number one on a whole bunch of other teams. A whole bunch of other teams. So I'm going to put the link up if you want to jump in the chat. Somebody got to be bold enough to want to talk. Let's go. But, yeah, man, we can't play around with this. We can't play around with this. I think the Saquon Barkley play is kind of masking the stuff that Sirianni did. Because that play was so out of bounds, off the chain, ridiculous by Saquon Barkley that we done just forgot about the silly stuff that Sirianni did and the position he put the team in. We kind of let that go because everybody been talking about Saquon. That's the way it goes sometimes. You got something that deflects or takes your attention away from where it's supposed to be, and you keep it, you just forget about it. You keep it moving, and you keep going on what's the big topic, and you forget about the little stuff, even though that the coaching wasn't so little. So it's all good, Chris. Appreciate it. This is building. Hey, if anybody, let me put this out there right now, because going forward, I'm thinking Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm probably going to stream tomorrow, but it might be like basketball stuff. But right now, when we're in season, Tuesday, today, because a lot of stuff happens on Mondays. So today and Thursday is the show night. So if somebody asks you, like, hey, when is Pro Fan Talk on? You say Thursday at 9 p.m. live. That's the time, 9 p.m. on Thursdays. But what I was saying was, whenever I go live, going forward, whenever I go live, it'll be a call-in show. So that live link will always be available. Anybody that's in the chat, want to jump in and say something, that will always be the case going forward. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a team of regulars that'll always be willing to come on the show. And I might have it to where I can have like 6 people on at the same time, just discussing, making sure I give everybody a chance to talk. Just as long as you're respectful and everything, we can make it happen. So, and one of the things is I'm trying to find a Facebook group that will be willing to talk. But I know that doesn't always translate 1-to-1. But just looking for a way to get some more interaction. So if you got any ideas, if you are on any Facebook groups, hook it up, let me know, tell somebody to get in touch with me, because I'm like, literally, I would love to have a Facebook group take over the chat, take over the live chat. That would be dope. But you got to get people talking. You got to let people know. So I'm working on it. I'm grinding. Yeah, Devontae, he put the league on notice. Kellen Moore, this is a revenge game. Will this be the year we just dominate Dallas? This has to be the year. Everything is aligning right now. They're not very good. They're not coached very well. Dak is hurt. This is when we should be making it happen. I think we're a playoff team. I think it'll be Eagles and Washington in the playoffs. And we got to beat Washington so we can even up the conference. And that puts us ahead a little bit in the conference. That's why we gotta take care of business. We trying to put ourselves in a good situation for the playoffs. So we got to handle business. So I want to see the Eagles get back to their normal game plan. Run. Saquon left, Saquon right. Ain't nobody been able to stop him yet. You can hold him, and then you got him, and then all of a sudden he pops. Pops for 12, pops for 20, 27-yard touchdown, 60-yard run. You know, he's one of them dudes, 8 carries for 16 yards. Bam, 60-yard breakaway. And he's playing for us. So keep running behind that offensive line and keep doing what we're doing until somebody stops us, period. Run first. And we got to exercise pistol and ace. Put Jalen Hurts under center. Let Saquon run downhill. Let Kenny Gainwell run downhill. Let Shipley run downhill. Get them boys the ball deep and let them do what running backs do. That's the best way to get the most out of our run game. So it looks like Micah is going to be back. So, but Lane Johnson has had some good games against Micah Parsons. So bring it. Let's go at them, and let's do what we got to do. I still take our offensive line against their defensive line. We're better right now. We're better. I'm going to start watching tape tomorrow of the Dallas games that they've lost and they won. Because, again, this ain't no – we want it to be a pushover because it's Dallas. And we want to say Dallas sucks. And we saw the clip with Dak Prescott mouthing that to whoever he was talking to on the sideline. Like, man, we just suck right now. You're like, yeah. But leave that shit to the side, man. I'm telling you. Leave it to the side. I want to beat Dallas by 20, 21 points at least. I want to beat Dallas the way we should have beat the Jaguars. That's what I want to do. I want to hang up a 30 or a 40 burger on us. Is Dallas better than the Bengals? That's the question. Is Dallas better than the Bengals? Can Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell handle CeeDee Lamb the way they handled Jamar Chase? Now, I think what will happen is Dallas is going to watch that Cincinnati game and utilize that tight end as much as they can, because that tight end from the Bengals was killing us. That joker was ripping us a new one. He was killing us. What's up, Chris? I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate the super chat by Chris. Eagles can dominate the division if Nick gets right. No excuse with this roster and make a deep playoff push. Detroit wouldn't win a shootout. Listen. Appreciate the super chat, brother. But I would have to, we'll agree to disagree about the Detroit comment. Because even if you want to look at us player to player, it would be a push. I got to get an advantage to Detroit because of their coach. Coaching matters. Coaching matters. So I appreciate that positivity with what we can do. I agree with you. We are in the hunt for the division, but it's going to come down. Well, after we handle Dallas, when we take care of business in Dallas, then we're on a hunt for the division because I don't want to put the cart before the horse. We got to take care of business this week. So I don't want to really talk about Washington yet. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Thanks again, Chris. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Hold on. Chris, I got to give you a wrench, bro. For sure. Oh, you already got it. Well, cool. Want to make sure you got it. Yeah, we got to take care of business, man. Washington is going to be a great game. Washington, Jaden Daniels is going to put our defense to the test because Jaden Daniels is doing what Jalen Hurts did in 2022, but Jaden Daniels has a better arm, is a better thrower, and is faster. So that matters. Now, he's got some hiccups because he's a rook. So there's ways you can exploit him. But if you're looking, you just the measurables, Jaden Daniels, he's throwing the ball extremely well right now. And it is going to be hard to corral him because he's so freaking fast. So we got to get home and get him on the ground. And easier said than done based on what I've seen. So we'll see. But yeah. So let's leave. Let's table that Washington talk. It's Dallas week. And let's concentrate on the business at hand. We got to take care of Dallas. Dallas is not playing good football right now, and that's why it scares me, because whenever we get games like this, it always ends up being a tough fight. Jacksonville wasn't supposed to be a tough fight. It ended up being a tough fight. It shouldn't have been a tough fight against Atlanta. But, it is what it is. So I want to handle our business, stand on business, and do what we got to do. We can't screw this up. Sirianni cannot screw this up. No way. No way. Yeah, so we are in Dallas. Okay. So we going down to Jerry's world, to the circus. Let's just get out there and handle business and let him stew in his interviews and get him in a situation where he don't know what to say. So, yeah, man, Chris, I'm with you, bro. Run the ball. Run it till they can stop it, man. Run it till they can stop it. I would love to see Shipley get some clock. Because, Kenny Gainwell is my guy, man. But Shipley, whew, man, when you see something, like you just see it, you got to feed him. That kid needs to be on the field. He needs to be on the field. That is the perfect break for Saquon. Somebody as big. Got to do that. Let me see what his yeah, good size, man. 5'11", 210. Fast. Get him in the game, man. Get him in the game. Yeah. Shipley is slept on. For real. And he's one of those type of guys, man. Every time he gets his opportunity. Will Shipley is the Zach Bond of the offense. How's that? Will Shipley is the Zach Bond of the offense. Me and Tone talk about this, and I bring this up every time we get on this subject. Because I remember being on Tone's show in the preseason. We talked about that. We talked about Zach Bond. We both said the same thing. When I looked at the tape of Zach Bond, I was like, every time this kid is on the floor, is on the field, he makes things happen. He is making the most of his opportunities. He gets lost in the sauce. He got lost in the sauce down in New Orleans, and that was probably like a salary issue. Whenever you hear somebody talk about it's a numbers game and stuff like that, what that usually means is whoever's starting or in front of you is making a big contract, and the team got to play. Has nothing to do with you being better than him or him being better than you. It's politics, and it sucks. There's a lot of people in the league that shouldn't be. There's a lot of people that aren't that should. So hopefully, Will Shipley will get his opportunity. Speaking of opportunities, if you heard me last week, I was like, hey, Isaiah Rodgers is ready to go. Hold on, slow down, pump your brakes. Now let's hope that he has a better performance this week. Could have been better. Could have been better. We left some meat on the bone, and let's just hope that he's got another week of understanding the system, understanding what's expected of him, and hopefully he can play a little bit better. He didn't play badly, but in my opinion, I don't think he played great. So, but another week, he's on the field, getting clocked, getting used to Vic Fangio on what he needs to be doing, and I'm expecting him to be better. So, we'll see. That's why they play. Or get Keely Ringo in there. Keely Ringo makes plays, physical plays, whenever he's in the game. So that's what we got to do. Defense is balling. Secondary is balling, with the exception of Vontae Maddox. But we're balling. And Vontae Maddox is okay. He got beat on that one play. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Nothing you can do about that. Other guys get paid too. But we got to tighten it up. And Vic Fangio's got to continue to do what he's been doing. That's what he's got to do. And I think he will. Because the defense has been consistent. We've been consistent on that side of the ball. Jalen Carter is a beast. Jordan Davis needs to come on a little bit. Nolan Smith is finally understanding what he needs to do. Bryce Huff is hurt. His wrist is jacked up. I don't know if he's going to play. So we just got to handle our business. That's what we got to do. Don't mess around with Dallas. Beat them like a drum, down in Jerry's world, and walk out. That's all we got to do. Do not screw around with this. So, but that's about it, man. I'm about to get up out of here. We rocked for an hour. I'm good with that. So, I will have some more content tomorrow. It'll probably be basketball because I already wrote a script for NCAA women's basketball. And yeah, Huff is hurt his wrist, I heard. So check me out tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe, click on that like button. And everybody, appreciate you joining me. Appreciate you jumping in the chat. Appreciate the support. And we're going to continue to do this thing. I'm almost at 5K, trying to hit 5K. I need about 270 something subs. So spread the word. Tell your friends about me. And we're going to do this again probably Wednesday. And we're going to do this again definitely on Thursday at 9 o'clock. So tell your friends about me. Come on back. Don't be a stranger. And we're going to keep this thing going. I appreciate you. Y'all have a good night. And I will see you in the next one. Go Birds.